and what's old is new. Because, yeah, man, what we're talking, I guess what's funny is the first one of these movies came out before I was born, and then the third one would have come out when I was 4 years old, and now the fourth one has come out when I'm 34 years old. Jesus Christ. You know, the world waited for 30 years for Beverly Hills Cop 4, and what did we get? Yeah, I'm going to bury the lead here and just say I think we got a better movie than anyone, including anyone making the movie, probably thought that they deserved to make because, yeah, I'm here talking about Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, not 4, because why would we do that? Why would we do something so obvious? But
we take even the A from Axel and turn it into the number 4 or something. Yeah.
Right. Why do anything like people have done before? But on this very special crossover episode of the Kulturecast in the Projection Booth, I am one of your hosts, Chris Stachiw. I am joined by the aforementioned host of the Projection Booth, Mike White.
Howdy, hey.
And our dear friend all the way from Dark Destinations and more apropos, I think, as his weekly show now chugs along midnight viewing, our friend Father Malone.
I'd just like to point out that there's a billboard in this movie that says syphilis eruption.
Boy, isn't there. And yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, we're going to be talking about the latest Beverly Hills Cop movie, not titled Beverly Hills Cop 4, but titled Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F.
I almost admire you. Still on these streets, running and gunning. I'm just amazed. Doesn't get to you. Watch your ass out there, okay?
I'm gonna be fine. They love me in Beverly Hills.
Detective Foley, you ever read your own files? Shootouts, start of the piece, a lot. Please tell me you didn't get arrested again.
Twice, but I broke out.
We put our lives on the line every day. And for what? Comes with the job if you're doing it right. Yeah, bitch! Axel.
So how many people have you pissed off so far?
I haven't pissed off anybody.
Yeah.
50-50.
50-50.
Is it that high?
So far.
Yeah. Wow.
So the film is directed by Mark Molloy, based on a screenplay by Will Beal, Tom Gormican, and Kevin Etten, and it is based on the characters that have been established in the previous 3 Beverly Hills Cop movies, and it does star, once again, Eddie Murphy as the titular Axel F. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in this movie. Judge Reinhold is there. John Ashton, Paul Reiser, Bronson Pinchot. Taylour Paige shows up as Eddie Murphy's daughter because, hey, it's a family affair now, as they would say. And yeah, we're going to be spoiling the movie. So if you haven't seen it yet, the only place to watch it is on streaming services, which I love now. I realized if you guys see it when they show previews for movies on streaming, it just says new movie. And then the date, it doesn't say in theaters. It just says new movie, July 7th. Like, oh, okay. It doesn't seem as exciting as in theaters, but you know, that's fine. And yeah, we'll be spoiling the movie. So if you haven't seen it, watch it on Netflix and come back and join us. So Mike, I'm going to kick it to you first. Thoughts on the original films? Excitement surrounding this film, maybe? I mean, this movie was just dropped on Netflix like so many things are now, but thoughts on the original and the requel?
I absolutely love the original. I grew up watching it. It was before you could really, I guess you could buy VHS tapes back then, but it was maybe somebody taped it off of cable or had the technology. We have the technology. We can copy from one tape player to the other tape player, but somehow my dad home with a copy of Beverly Hills Cop, and I watched the shit out of it. I just really enjoyed that movie. I really enjoyed the second movie as well. I imagine if I go back and rewatch it again, because we covered this for the Projection Booth a few years ago, I think I was a little less hot on it. And when I did that episode, that was the first time I ever saw the third one, because I had been told for years to stay away from it, and for good reason. So there was no excitement for me around Axel F. I knew that they had been talking about doing a fourth Beverly Hills Cop pretty much since the third one came out. 30 trips around the sun, as you say. All of our top scientists are working on it. And they actually came up with something that I thought was pretty darn decent. I really enjoyed this movie. I had a good time with it. I know my wife did not. She was just like, oh, can we watch the Great British Baking Show instead? We haven't seen the last few seasons.
Wow.
So
you passed
really
that up for this?
But I really wanted to watch this. I knew we were recording about it. So I figured it'd be nice if I actually watched the movie before I showed up on the show to just kind of wing it through there. But yeah, I thought that the lip service that they paid to the previous films was pretty darn good. And I actually liked that it was his daughter rather than a faux love interest, because the faux love interests never really were love interests. It was like his friend in the first one. I can't remember the third one, like what the female relationship was like in that. It felt like maybe they were supposed to be boyfriend, girlfriend at the end of the movie, but it didn't make a lot of sense. But this one having his daughter, I thought made more sense. Yeah, some of that pathos is a little tough to get through. And Taylour Paige, I'm not really familiar with her too much, but I'll tell you, she's got the best, what the fuck did you just say to me face of all people. Like even her IMDb profile photo feels like somebody just said something inappropriate to her and she's about to come at them.
I speak only for myself here in saying I do wish you had showed up and just started talking about the Great British Bake Off. Just no sold it completely. Just gone on for like 5 minutes, and at the end of it, just be like, "What the fuck, Mike?"
He got a handshake for the showstopper. What the hell?
And he didn't cry.
Are you talking about the Great Pottery Throwdown, where the host of that cries every episode?
I love that guy more than I mean. Just give me a good. He cried in that first episode, and I was like, "Oh, this is really special." Then he cried in every subsequent episode.
Yes.
So it's not a thing as much. Okay, you can't do that. Father Malone, tell us your thoughts on the Beverly Hills Cop of it all.
I saw the original in the movie at the movies. My grandmother took me to see it, Beverly Hills Cop. She was a big Eddie Murphy fan, and
come on, Sonny, let's go see the new Beverly Hills Cop movie. I hear Eddie Murphy's very fun.
Father Malone's grandma keeping it fucking real, dog.
I love it.
If I go over to her house, she'd play Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy. What the god damn?
Well, remember what Red Fox said? You got to wash your ass.
Yeah. Holy shit.
She loved Red Fox. So I've told this story on other podcasts, but my grandmother went to see Beverly Hills Cop 2 without me, and when I asked her how it was, she said, "Why won't they just let Eddie be Eddie?" This is one of my fondest memories of her. Anyway, so
she was a hip lady.
And I agree with her in an assessment of part 2, because I love Beverly Hills Cop, and I had it on videotape. It was in the big old fucking clamshells. Paramount always stuck him in the clamshells. And it was the photo of him just with the gun, which is great as a poster. So I loved that first one. The second one came out, and I had zero interest in seeing it just because it looked too slick and it looked too sequelized, like what we expected of a sequel at the time, just amped up. And I love Tony Scott and everything, but sometimes it's a bit much. But I did see part 3 in the theater because Landis directed it. And oh man, I regret it to this day. I wish I had never seen it. So when they start this movie, and Mike, you were saying like at the end of 3, could that have been his girlfriend? I was like, I completely blotted out parts 2 and 3, and this is just the sequel to Beverly Hills Cop. I don't think that retcons anything necessarily, but like you, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I found the story of Axel and his daughter to be actually really affecting, and I thought a really great avenue to take that character down. It's the other sort of 80s stuff slapped on top of it. The end of it gets a little too 80s of it all. I was enjoying it for up to a point, and I was enjoying some of the music cues coming back and stuff, but there's way too many of them. But I think the climax is just ridiculous and sort of made me not like the movie. but ultimately I enjoyed it, like overall, like all the performances, everyone made me happy. I was made happy more than not in the viewing of this movie.
And how about you, Chris?
So I had only seen the first 2. I had stayed away from the third one for all of the reasons aforementioned, because it sounds terrible. And then I've heard it's not good. So sometimes I don't choose to go out of my way to watch bad things just to reinforce that they are in fact bad. And they do mention it in this movie at least once, just kind of like, and then in 1994, the less said about that, the better. Like, oh yeah, you're fucking right. The less said about it, the better. Clearly. I enjoyed the first one when I watched it. I mean, again, like it's watching it at a time and a place when I did, which would have been like in the last 10 years, very different from watching it when it originally came out for a whole host of reasons. I mean, Eddie Murphy now for people my age is not Eddie Murphy saying faggot. Okay. That's just not Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is, I mean, I dare to say that Eddie Murphy, I think for people my age, is known for his work as Donkey in Shrek. I mean, I'm like pretty sure for a lot of people. I mean, I like Eddie Murphy a lot in a lot of his live action stuff. And look, this is going to come as, this might seem like a joke to some people. I actually really like that Haunted Mansion movie that he was in the early 2000s. I think he's actually pretty good in it. I don't know if I ever buy Eddie Murphy as like a family man. I find it very hard to believe. I think that it's, to your point, Father Malone.
Like 12 kids.
Yeah. I'm sure he does. I'm more speaking to the idea of like the energy that he brings. And you mentioned it, Father Malone, pretty aptly. Like I think the way that they do it in this movie with his character is the right way to do it with Eddie Murphy as an actor, which is he's kind of this like aloof dickhead father who has to, learn a lesson by the end of the movie. And he does in a very heartwarming moment. But, I understand the appeal of this franchise originally. And I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I think I had any expectation going into it that I would. I think that, again, it just being on Netflix in July of 2024, when people were clamoring for it, probably throughout the fucking 90s, for it to now just come out. It's so bizarre to me that these things happen this way, that people were waiting for so long, and now it's here, and next week it won't even matter. But I don't know. I'm interested to see if they do more with it. I think that there is a place in the world for stuff like this still. I think that this movie is in a lot of ways the right way to do it, which is bring the character into the modern day and give him modern problems, as it were, that people his age would be having, which is, unable to get along in the world the way it's changed, and having a child that resents you for the way that you are. And the way that you are is something that in the first three movies, the character was being kind of celebrated for. And now it's like, you're past your prime, Foley, turn in your badge. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. But like, it works here in the context of what the movie's doing. And the fact that we get Judge Reinhold and John Ashton back, I think is, for me, the best part of the movie is the positives that come back from the original movies. But I went into this having no idea what to expect, other than it's a legacy sequel coming out 30 years after the fact. And I don't know, I would put it up there with some of the better versions of these kinds of movies we've seen since they started doing these kinds of movies, which I think is really the glut of them started, what do we want to say, like 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago now? The requel became a thing where they reboot the movies, but they don't really reboot them, but it's a sequel at the same time. I don't know. I enjoyed it, but I don't think, I guess I don't think that people my age are going to be flocking to see this movie. I guess I wonder who this is for, ultimately, is the big question that I ask. Right. For y'all, which is good, because like, I think for y'all, it's working. And I hope that people my age check it out, because I think it's, I think it still has some fun beats in it. Is it as, over the top as that new Bad Boys movie? Probably not, but it's not trying to be, even though they're kind of doing the same thing, ultimately.
Well, Beverly Hills Cop walked so that Bad Boys could run, I believe.
Right.
I don't think there would be a Bad Boys without Beverly Hills Cop. But yeah, they seem to know their audience, and they seem to know how to pace a movie pretty well. Having three major chase set pieces in this film, one with the garbage truck, one with that little traffic trolley, whatever you want to call that thing, and then the third with the helicopter. I thought all of those worked really well, and it was just that kind of, how are we going to amp this action up type of thing. And I think putting him in that little trolley thing was pretty darn funny. because it just didn't look like it would go very fast at all. And then having Joseph Gordon-Levitt have his PTSD and not be able to fly the helicopter, I thought that was a nice twist as well, because you would expect like, oh yeah, I know how to do this, and just gets in there and flies off, but instead literally crashes the helicopter right there where Shooter McGavin is practicing golf. I thought that was really nice.
Yes, Christopher McDonald, just there for no discernible fucking reason, frankly. Like,
and doesn't one thought follow the other? Like, what the fuck is happening? Oh, never mind.
Right. Yeah. Well, and so here's the other
McDonald. Do whatever you want.
Right. Here's the other thing I want to point out. And again, like, there's a universe where we don't have to point this out, but we got a final Indiana Jones film last year, which featured a similar value proposition, which is an aged movie star comes back to the franchise that for a lot of people made him very popular, if not immensely famous and wealthy. And is he actually showing up, or is he just phoning it in? And look, Harrison Ford is probably, Jesus Christ, 20 years older than Eddie Murphy. I've got to assume at least 10, probably 15, but maybe 20. So we can't expect him to do the things that Eddie Murphy is being asked to do in this movie, but I don't think Eddie Murphy's being asked to do that much. It's 3 set pieces in cars, which, I mean, is kind of what fucking Indiana Jones was. There was a lot of vehicular chases in that movie too, but this is how you do it.
Garbage.
Right, exactly. But this is how you do it entertaining, and this is how you actually do it in an interesting way, which is keep cutting back to the cab of the vehicle and have an interesting back and forth going on between the characters, not just showing us CGI bullshit action and just hanging it on that. Because while this movie does have a fair amount of CGI, I can also tell that a lot of this is also being practically done as well.
Well, the heavy lifting for this movie has to be on Murphy's shoulders, and it has to be his riffing and his whole, like, the way that he bluffs people, the way that he comes in and just starts lying to people. And I like that isn't 100% successful, that his daughter actually pulls his fat out of the fire at least once, if not twice, which I thought was kind of nice that she's able to pick up on that as well. But yeah, it's so much of it is him being slick and talking his way into and out of situations. And that hasn't changed. I think that is where this movie really shines. And that's where we see Eddie Murphy very engaged in this thing. And that was the thing with Indiana Jones. It felt like Harrison Ford was just like, fuck, what do I got to do to get a paycheck? I don't give a shit about this. Whereas it felt like Eddie was very passionate about this. I really felt that he was invested in this film.
In Indiana Jones, I don't blame Harrison Ford at all, because at that point, Indiana Jones is that guy. He is disinterested in the world and doesn't want any part of it, even though he's being pulled through the action. The problem is the action and the script and the way it's shot. It's just fucking awful. And I think what happened here is movies like that were coming out trying to trade on Gen X nostalgia for things they loved in their youth. So there's kind of a low bar set when you can't do Indiana Jones well at all. So in that regard, this movie succeeds. It should succeed just on that surface level, but I think it accomplishes more than that. I think it's a smarter script. I think everything's more engaged. And the other thing is, the action in the Indiana Jones movies is not in any way commensurate to the action in anything that went on in the Beverly Hills Cop movies. It is all vehicular, so it's easier to maintain that sort of same level of reality that series had created, because we could always cut to Eddie Murphy behind the wheel of a car. The fact is, I think a lot of this was practical, wasn't it? A lot of that helicopter stuff had to be real, man. And watching a helicopter like spinning around outside the Beverly Hills City Hall was actually kind of harrowing to watch.
Yeah, I appreciated all of the practical vehicle effects. I mean, look, I don't think it's also a surprise that a franchise like Fast and the Furious is so popular, because again, like it makes something like this feel like a little bit of a layup, right? In a lot of ways, like, oh, those are still in. The stuff that Indiana Jones was doing isn't necessarily in anymore, if it was ever in, outside of it just being in for Indiana Jones's sake.
Those Bad Boys directors, the ones who did the last one that was actually really well directed, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard as much. Yeah,
those guys, their dream was to come to America and make a Beverly Hills Cop movie. So I kind of wish that they had let them. because I think the direction here is very in the mold of Martin Brest, but through that Bruckheimer lens. So it's kind of good. You know what I mean? It's good enough. Like the practicality of it sells it more than the actual like filmmaking here. I want to see those guys make the next one.
Yeah, the aerial coordinator for this one was Frederick North, who I had the pleasure of speaking with last year. He had a new book called Flying Sideways come out. And yeah, he takes a lot of pride in practical effects and practical aerial feats. And yeah, I was very excited when I saw that he was working on this movie because yeah, those seem very, very real. And even when it came to that little police thing, I think that worked so much better than the tuk-tuk chase that was in Indiana Jones, because remember, they let that thing go on for way too long. And all of the action scenes in this are pretty, tight. I would say the longest action sequence is probably the snowplow chase at the beginning, but that's there to set the stage so much of how reckless he is, that he is so in danger of losing his job, also reuniting him with Jeffrey, the Paul Reiser character, which was nice to see him back in this, because I really liked Jeffrey in the first movie, especially his whole, when he's there and Gil Hill is yelling at him and he's like, "This is not my locker." That's one of my favorite lines from the first movie. So it's good to bring him back. And I don't feel like those kind of things are that nostalgia bait, that fan service that we hear so much about when it comes to these newer films. Yeah, having Judge Reinhold and John Ashton in here could be seen as that, but I don't feel like it is. I think the only time that they get in danger of that is when they bring back Surge. And I guess that's just because Surge is such a popular character, ? I remember liking him in the first movie, but when he showed up in 2 and definitely in 3, he didn't need to be there at all. Get Surge out of there.
I'm glad that Judge Reinhold and John Ashton didn't show up in the third act. They're here. Like in the Ghostbusters.
Oh,
it's
God.
just talk about.
That's when the ghost of Ronnie Cox shows up and he is there with the gun.
Yeah, it's just, that's what I expect for fan service at this point, is like the lowest of low hanging fruit, where it's like, oh, they're gonna expect that in the final frame of Exorcist Believer, Linda Blair's gonna show up, so we're gonna do it. Like, it's so lazy. We see it coming from a mile away, and this movie doesn't do it. They actually integrate those characters into the plot and the proceedings of the movie rather well. Yeah, Bronson Pinchot is the only one who's kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. You could excise his entire scene from the movie, the moment they meet him to the moment that they leave that house that he's trying to get them into, so Eddie Murphy could just go next door and look at something and go, "I know things now." It's like,
wait. Nassim Pedrad is the real estate agent in that scene. And every line reading of hers made me laugh. So
she's funny. She's funny.
I agree that Bronson Pinchot has turned that. If you watch the first Beverly Hills Cop movie, the reason that character works is just because it seems like it's that guy. He's just this weirdo, right. And here it's so affected that it drags the scene down. But Nassim Pedrad is fucking hitting it.
She is.
It's unfortunate because she's great, but Bronson Pinchot is just kind of like doing. It's like he saw the first movie and is trying to do an impersonation of himself. Like,
yeah,
oh, man,
he barely speaks, and the accent just has gotten worse over the years. I'm not sure exactly how that happens.
More and more affected somehow.
Yeah, and it was interesting though to that line, because the whole series, or at least the first movie especially, is that whole fish out of water thing, and the whole idea of him coming to this ritzy world, and we get that montage of him driving in that crappy blue crappy Ford Explorer, and all of the people that he sees and he's laughing at and everything. That's fun. But I did like when he gets arrested. I think it's his own daughter who's arresting him, and she's like, "Yep, hands up," kind of thing. And he's like, what's he say? Like, "I've been a cop for 30 years. I've been black all my life. I'm not about to."
I know how this goes.
Yeah, and I was just like, "Oh, that's nice. That is really nice that they can directly address that, but still keep it light and funny and not have it turn around into, this is a post Rodney King world that we're in, and a post George Floyd world that we're in." So I mean, God, I could sit here for an hour and list off all the African American men and women who have been unjustly killed by police, but I'm glad that that's there and not hitting you over the head with it.
You're saying, Mike, that you like our movies woke, is what you're saying? You're woke, the woke, keep wokeness out of our movies, Mike?
Yeah, we have to keep wokeness out of the movies because it's driving the kids insane. That's why they're picking all these weird like pronouns and gerunds and infinitives.
Gerunds, Jesus
They're
Christ.
splitting their infinitives these days.
God damn, split infinitives. Ugh, the worst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's called the Prince Albert.
Father Malone, you were going to say something that wasn't about a penis being pierced.
No, I have no idea what it was now. So continue. Let's talk about wokeness.
Well, you know, in terms of this movie actually having those moments, to your point, Mike, it has them in there, but they don't feel forced in, which again, with these kinds of things, with these kinds of movies, there's a lot of things that can feel forced. The nostalgia can feel forced. And look, I think when people say wokeness, I mean, we're obviously poking fun at it, but I think wokeness in terms of what we're actually talking about is more just bringing these franchises into the modern day and trying to make sense of the things that now in hindsight don't make as much sense when you go back and rewatch the original movies. And I think that this movie does a good enough job at kind of addressing that, like you said, with that one line that Eddie Murphy has. I mean, I think that to have it be corrupt cops, I think is also, you know, maybe a little too on the nose, but I think in this day and age, you know, corrupt cops.
Yeah, but that's where the whole fucking movie falls apart because it's just so ridiculous. He's so out in the open, like, here are my goons.
Like, right.
It
doesn't work.
That's from 1985. Like they've updated it in some ways, but I don't think Axel Foley has changed in one iota. Like he'd be telling everyone to fuck themselves back in 85 as well. But we didn't need the villains and their plots coming with him. One real subversion to that, I thought, was you know, Axel Foley is known for like walking into every situation, be able to talk himself into any situation. But when we get basically a repeat from the first film where he walks into the hotel and he's about to start like conning her into, he's just, fuck, I'm too tired. Just give me the hotel room. I don't care. Like that was probably my favorite moment in the entire movie because because Eddie Murphy inhabits this character so well that it felt good. Because if you watch the third film, that's Eddie Murphy trying to be serious, Axel, for some reason. Like on top of all the movie's other problems, he wanted to take that character in a different direction. But this felt like a return to form, except there's no laugh. You know, Eddie Murphy like has sort of famously changed his laugh because he was so tired of being parodied and copied and you know, made fun of for the way he laughed. So he changed the way he laughed. But I remember Axel Foley laughing that way. Couldn't he have affected it a little bit for this one flick?
That would have been nice. At least he didn't stick any bananas in any tailpipes, though, in this. I was really...
They almost got there with a little bit of the fan service.
Yeah. I'm just amazed that you're totally right. As soon as you see Kevin Bacon, you're like, oh, well, he's a corrupt cop.
He's the villain.
Yeah. And
remember when he was the villain in R.I.P.D. doing the exact same thing? Literally.
I'm amazed that they let him be on the force still after all the shit he pulled on Ryan Reynolds back in R.I.P.D. Yeah. Yeah. He is exactly that same character. And it's like, okay. Yeah. And yeah, no hiding it. No third act reveal. There's nobody behind him who's the power behind the throne. It's just him, just his goons. And yeah, I kind of like that thing too when Axel walks into Judge Reinhold's room and they're tearing it apart and he just, you know, what the hell's taking so long? And he does that whole thing. And then when the other goon walks in, this is the exact same thing. I thought that was kind of nice as well.
So I don't think I'll ever do an episode on the original movie. So this is my opportunity to mention 1985 Fletch comes out. And Fletch is just, I see that Fletch is just Chevy Chase's version of Beverly Hills Cop without a gun. Because I'm not saying in the book Fletch, he's not talking himself in and out of things, because that is the case. But if we're talking a cinematic comparison, every time he did that in this movie, I was like, this is what this would look like if they had ever made that third Fletch movie with Chevy Chase. Like now, this is what it would look like. You'd have that scene where he tries to do it and he's just like, all right, I just can't be bothered. But what's so weird is I had never put those two things together in my mind as kind of an overlapping idea, but Beverly Hills Cop and Fletch have so much in common. And I think it works here really well because they understand how to amend it and do different things with it, then don't make it feel like they're just treading that old ground again. Obviously, the most recent Fletch movie is a completely different thing. So it also felt very different from what it was trying to achieve. But here we have the original actor doing the character again. And it doesn't feel I don't want to say there's so little fan service in this movie, but there's not a lot of fan service. Not in the way that I was expecting. Not in the way that
what there is really sticks out. I think if you had watched the first movie a billion times, you would, like, right from the opening song, you'd be like, okay, we're doing this, right? The heat is on now.
Oh yeah.
When will we be dancing the neutron?
Well,
not too long after, actually.
Who's Detroit's favorite son? Bob Seger. Yeah, you have to get the Bob Seger in there first.
Well, and also, I mean, you know, when I watched this when my folks were here, and my mom was like, "Is this the music from Fletch, right?" It's like, no, it is, but it isn't, but it is. And so, God, can we talk about the music? Because look, the Axel F song at this point. The other thing that I think probably we should mention, and I can't believe we're gonna have to say it in the same breath as Beverly Hills Cop, but Crazy Frog and Axel F. I mean, there are people my age that have never seen these movies but know the song Crazy Frog, Crazy Frog's Axel F, which was like a meme for, 10, 15 years. I mean, again, at certain corners of the internet, people are still breaking it down to the Crazy Frog, but the music in this movie is a bit much. And by a bit much, I mean, they beat you over the fucking head with the fact that this is a Beverly Hills Cop movie in every scene. And I don't remember that being the case in the original movie. There were some more music cues. They had some more stems there than just do, just played like 8 million different ways.
Well, it's weird that it has gotten now not now, but in the past, it has crept into so many rap songs that it feels like it is being sampled in some of these rap songs that we're hearing towards the end, especially like Here We Go.
Lil Nas X's song. Yeah. That song was made for the film. So
okay. I didn't I thought that this was an older song that happened to use some Harold Faltermeyer in there.
This is a song made for the movie, which I kind of miss that. I miss that being a thing.
Well, you need to watch some. I mean, didn't Will Smith do a Bad Boys 4? Oh, it's the 4th time we're coming out.
No.
We are back. Bad Boys back. Yeah, it just doesn't have the ring to it that Men in Black did.
Mm-hmm.
God. Ugh. Yeah, I didn't think that Bad Boys 4 and Beverly Hills Cop 4 would come out in the same year. That's just something.
We need IP. Get us IP.
Mark Pellegrino's not working on anything at the moment. What's he up to? It was weird to see him in this movie with no lines at all.
Yeah, that was. It took me a while. I had to say, wait, is that Mark Pellegrino?
Yeah.
I was so surprised.
His hairline has come up a little bit, I think, is what the issue is. He doesn't have this full of a head of hair as he used to when Dexter was murdering him, or the Winchester brothers were murdering him.
Or he was there on the island playing backgammon against Titus Willimer.
Yeah, God.
Yeah.
Here was the sobering moment for me, Mike. I don't know about you. I love seeing Paul Reiser again. Like you, I thought he was a great part of the original film. When he's dropping Axel off at the airport, I don't know any captain who'd do that, but I guess Paul Reiser would. Mm-hmm. When Eddie Murphy calls out to this sky cap, and he's like, "Look at him, look at me. We're the same age. Look at him, look at me." And then I really looked at Paul Reiser, and I looked at Eddie Murphy, and I went, my God, they're really old. Oh my God, I'm really old. This whole thing is aimed at me, and I'm buying it.
Yeah,
that's what I said. Yeah. So I said, like, who is my age watching this? Like, what was is it Joseph Gordon-Levitt? Is it the JGL of it all? Is it like, we're going to get him through the door with the Holy Matrimony Kid? We got this.
He was good. He was in it, though. I didn't know until the credits started. I was like, really?
Well, it's an Eddie Murphy movie, right? I mean, it is an Eddie Murphy movie. Well, he's just in it.
It helps that I follow John Ashton and Judge Reinhold on Facebook, so I'm seeing all of these pictures of them and there's no JGL in any of those. So that was pretty funny. Yesterday, by the way, John Ashton Day, because I watched the movie or the Columbo that we're going to talk about later today, Chris, with John Ashton in it. So
true.
Yeah, to see him at the beginning and possibly end of his career all in one day, that was kind of a sobering thing. And poor John, doing the mustache dyeing and the hair dyeing thing, I was like, yeah, I don't know how this really helps you look young. If anything, it looks like you're grasping at straws.
When he's rolling up in the climax, there's a tight close up of him where he looks like the Grim Reaper coming to kill everybody, man. Like, no, don't try to age him down, age him up. We love him.
And that house at the end so reminded me of the house at the end of the first movie too. The commando house that they shoot up in Valverde. No,
I don't know.
But no, just that mansion, to have that big gunfight there. I was like, oh, this is very similar to what they were doing in the first movie.
But I don't think it really works here, right? Like,
I don't think it really worked in the first movie.
Well, I mean, and here it's like, look, I mean, again, this exists in, the fourth sequence of these movies coming out. So in the first movie, that's one thing, but going back to the well in the fourth movie again, and then I don't know. And then the way that kind of all concludes just really, I don't know. Kevin Bacon was such a thoughtless addition to this movie. And then the way his character is handled at the end of the movie also feels like he's just yada yada out of the plot. And like, here comes JGL, and now he's dead. Like, wait, what? Like, what? All of the, any of the suspense that there was with what was going to happen was essentially taken away, but there wasn't any anyways, I guess is the problem. I guess do you need a villain in these kinds of movies like that? Like a villain in charge, or can it just be like a faceless organization? I think the best part of this movie is where they're in traffic and those cartel members just show up and start shooting up shit. That felt a little bit more interesting than just, oh, well, there's this crooked cop. Like, no, there's just like a big real world threat, and here comes Axel Foley. Like, that's a little bit more interesting than, like you mentioned, Father Malone, the 1984 called of it all. And here's Kevin Bacon twisting his air mustache that he doesn't have.
Yeah, but Kevin Bacon's really bringing it is the thing, and I do think
he always Kevin Bacon though. Of course, he's always bringing it.
Right, but like, he's a pretty good analog to Maitland in the first movie, and he was a good villain for that movie, but he just needed to be a better written villain, and then he can be the face of it. But I do agree with you. That cartel sequence was like out of hand. Like that was as impactful as the fucking helicopter thing.
Yeah. I mean, and instead of going back to that well again, they just had it set in a mansion. And I mean, again, like, it's fine. It's just not, I don't know. The stakes aren't there, I guess. And when you have a helicopter chase not 10 minutes before that, kind of feels like you're missing where you should have put the focus, or maybe the order you should have put the things in. Kevin Bacon fall out of a helicopter at the end of the movie. I mean, that's talk about the 80s of it all. Have a shot of the guy falling backwards. They used to do that enough in the 80s. My God, Joker, Alan Rickman, I think several times even.
Oh, Mike, I wanted to ask you as a Detroit person, where's Axel living? Did you recognize it?
I did not recognize it. I've never really recognized where he lives. I was very surprised and elated that they actually shot some things in Detroit, because when they first showed him in the car, I was like, all right, is he really there? Or is this just, interior Axel in car, exterior somebody else driving the same car? No, it looked like he was actually there, and that they actually shot somewhat down here, which is funny because I don't remember them shooting here in the city at all, but definitely a lot of that was.
Yeah, because, if you go back and watch the original Beverly Hills Cop, there's a lot of shots of and like pickup shots around Beverly Hills, but it's not really a whole lot of action that goes on here. I was surprised at how much action takes place in Beverly Hills here.
Yeah.
I used to live in Santa Monica, right the town over, and not spend a lot of time in Beverly Hills necessarily, but certainly recognized everywhere where they were shooting. And I was shocked at the practicality of this entire production.
I was shocked that Hector Elizondo doesn't make an appearance in this, since he took over as the John Ashton role in the first one. He's still around. He should have shown up at some point and just, gotten unceremoniously killed.
Well, we got Luis Guzman.
Oh my God, that was very surprising. What is he playing? Like that
lounge singer?
With the nail polish and everything?
I mean, he's a very much a gay coded character from 1984 slipped into a 2024 requel movie. It's very weird. But hey, Luis Guzman, everybody.
Yeah. Very powerful.
I thought the setup for that scene was so ridiculous, but once they started talking in the booth, sort of by themselves, like, I was totally into it, and I thought he was great. But like this over the top nonsense that like every scene has to top the last, don't do that. We don't need that. Just cut to these guys talking. It'd be far more interesting.
Oh, well, and some of the best scenes in the movie are just Eddie Murphy and JGL talking and like having witty repartee with one another. But I don't know. I mean, I guess when you exist in the framework of pop culture where, again, Bad Boys comes out and it one-ups itself constantly, I guess you kind of have to keep the action of it all still in, at least 50% of the movie, because this is an action comedy and people still expect the action to have some value. I don't know. I liked that there were chase scenes, but yeah, to have big chase scenes and then a climax taking place inside of a building is like, guys, I understand where we're coming from here, but I don't know. I mean, I know they're making another one of these. My hope is that they figure that out, and maybe they'll just make a sequel to this, actually not being very similar to what the other movies did. But I can't imagine Beverly Hills Cop's going to be set in Detroit. That's the other thing here. Like, doesn't Beverly Hills Cop kind of always have to be set Beverly Hills? So
yeah, though they were trying. Well, I don't know about that third one. That always felt like it was Pasadena or something. But
yeah, it takes place at an amusement park.
Right. It
was like Die Hard at an amusement park, but people could easily come and go, which I didn't understand.
Wow, very scary.
They talked about in the third one that they were going to do that in London for a little while to make that fish out of waterness even more, because right now Beverly Hills and Detroit, yeah, there's a lot of differences, but at the same time it's just like they're a lot similar now than they were in 1984 whenever the first one came out.
Yeah.
82?
84.
Okay.
Well,
Axel goes Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Go.
We've been waiting.
Him and Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I'd like to see that pairing. Speaking of nostalgia bait coming out, oh my God. And speaking of recycled bits from an original movie, that trailer is 100% jokes from the first film. I'm so disappointed and not looking forward to the movie all of a sudden.
Oh, but at one point in that movie, they have a ring with a finger on it in the original, and now it's a plot in the new movie. Aren't you excited?
Great. I'm excited for that. That's something new, maybe. But like turning around and going, look at this, and scaring somebody, we did that. We did that.
We got to see it again. It's 2024. We got to do it again.
I'm not here for the greatest hits, baby.
And here's the thing I don't get. Is anybody here for that anymore?
I hope not.
I wonder, because
any fan service better die with this movie. Like, if they're doing a fifth one, it better be just a brand new Axel Foley movie.
I don't like Ghostbusters Frozen Empire because it's not Ghostbusters-y enough for me. I don't care at this point. I want it to be something different. So I'm with you. If they make a fifth movie, take him to Hawaii. Send him to Beijing. I don't give a shit. Just don't have it be set in Beverly Hills again. Make
it a reverse Rush Hour and send him over there. Yeah.
Or have JGL go to Detroit. I don't know. Or just murder him in the first 5 minutes of the movie with a facehugger. When the spaceship crashes on their way back to Detroit.
Romulus. Yeah. Well, there is a Romulus. I live just a few miles away from it. So that's where our airport is. So Beverly Hills Cop, Romulus.
Perfect.
Talking about fan service. Whoa. What a shout out to the Shrek films in this movie, right? Talking about how onions have layers.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hell yeah. I was like, hey, look, everybody. He's talking about onions again.
Speaking of bizarre shout outs. Hey, look, man, it's a First Blood knife.
Yes.
What the fuck was that?
Now, had they brought up Cobra and had like the Cobra scissors, that would have been something. Yeah. For those who may not know, Beverly Hills Cop eventually became Cobra once Sylvester Stallone walked away from Beverly Hills Cop.
And thank God he did.
Jesus. Yes. Jesus. I mean, that takes the whole racial thing right out of it, too. If you had the white cop going from Detroit to Beverly Hills, that would have made no sense.
I wanted to ask you, Mike, since you are the Detroiter here, where does Axel Foley stand as the pop culture icon for Detroit? He's not as big as...
a statue of him.
He's not as big as RoboCop, right?
No. Still waiting for that RoboCop statue, by the way, which I gave money to for Kickstarter back in 2011, I think it was.
Before we met, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, still waiting for that one. So, yeah, I don't know personally. Like, I don't think that the kids don't know Axel Foley. I think they're more familiar with that Crazy Frog song. But yeah,
those kids love that Crazy Frog sound.
But yeah, for me, obviously a big hometown hero, but he's not lauded like other Detroiters necessarily.
I think that's the Beverly Hills of it all, right?
Did you own a Mumford Fizz Ed shirt?
No, but those things definitely sold quite a bit afterwards. Yeah. And I was hoping he would wear that, but at least we got the Detroit Lions jacket. And I'm surprised he didn't talk about how good the Lions did last year. So though it was great, that whole thing with him going to the Red Wings game and the whole like, oh yeah, my grandfather played for Winnipeg Black Guys.
That might have, I think that was the funniest bit at the beginning of the movie.
Like, what, with all of this?
Yeah, because I'm black, I don't like hockey.
Yeah. That was good. And at least he didn't, dress up like the mascot or anything. Throwback to Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Enrico Palazzo.
Yes.
Yeah, pulling it. Yeah. Oh my God. Speaking of that, I mean, speaking of comedy cops, we're going to get a Naked Gun 4 even. They're all coming back. I want Dragnet 2. Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks are still kicking it. What's Emil Muzz up to in 2025? That's what Dabney Coleman just passed away, and so did Christopher Plummer. We can have a in memoriam scene to both of them. Let's just have a connected universe where Dragnet and this movie, it'll just have them all take place in the same universe. Why not?
The sad thing is, Chris, someone is somewhere thinking that.
Oh yeah.
And weighing the nostalgic value of these things. Like how much did people like Dragnet? How much did like the Three Amigos? Like let's figure out a way to get those remade or rebooted or what the fuck ever we can wring a fucking another dollar out of.
They've been trying to do that with Police Academy, guys. I mean, that's been a rumor for years that they're trying to get Police Academy off the ground again.
Well, the last I heard about that was, Jorma Taccone from the Lonely Island. Like, he had written a script, they were going to direct it, and then it was George Floyd and Black Lives Matter, and suddenly nobody wanted to make a wacky comedy about cops.
Propaganda, baby. So I forgot to mention, and I get it, it's kind of a random aside. Not random, but it's a random connection that this podcast has to Beverly Hills Cop 4. My previous co-host is in this movie as the guy at the impound lot.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Literally my previous co-host of this show for several years, Sean Leong, is actually the guy who goes back and forth with Eddie Murphy in the impound lot, which cracked me the fuck up when I saw it. I was like, wow, talk about making it, baby. He's on a Netflix movie now.
Wow. Was he actually in Jupiter Ascending?
I don't know. I like how somebody brings up Jupiter Ascending in this movie. Like, that's not a thing that anybody needs to be doing in 2024.
That was Jupiter great, though, that shot of him and Channing Tatum. Oh, yeah. Channing taught me all this. Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I love when his daughter calls him on his bullshit.
Yeah. No, that was, my previous co-host, Sean Brian Leong. It was just funny. My wife and I looked at each other. We were like, what the fuck? And then go on Instagram to see he's been sharing about it finally that the movie's out. But it was, I again, like all of that stuff with him pretending to be people, like I'm glad that they brought that back. I wonder if when they do the next movie, if they're going to lean on it as much, because by the end of the movie, I think the movie realized it couldn't do it anymore. But that is probably my favorite scene of them doing that back and forth repartee thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of SD cards, talking about SD cards a lot in this movie.
Oh my God.
Where's the SD card? Is this 2024? Where's there no more cocaine? Where's the SD card at? You got to buy that SD card. That's true.
Way to MacGuffin there. Yeah. And interesting that this was Mark Molloy's first directorial feature, that I think he was more of a commercial director.
Yeah.
But he handled it pretty well. I thought things looked pretty good. The action scenes were pretty well directed. They weren't, infusing too much, which is always my complaint as far as, you can never have a nice wide shot of stuff. It always has to be in super close up these days to show action. But I thought that he handled it pretty well.
Not for more than 5 seconds anyways, at least.
Would have liked to have seen this on the big screen. I don't know. It feels like it could have actually done something. I mean, they release such garbage to theaters these days. Why not release this garbage and see if it takes?
Well, and it had Kevin Bacon in it. I mean, it has an actual actor, like well-known actor as the villain too, which I feel like, Father Malone, to your point of like, he's kind of just, he's Kevin Bacon. He shows up like, okay, we get it. Like, who the fuck doesn't? I love Kevin Bacon and everything. Who the fuck doesn't? His addition to anything makes it better. And him and who's he been married to? The closer. Kyra Sedgwick. They're one of those, Hollywood, couples that have lasted as well. So it's a good story there. Kevin Bacon seems like a great guy, but it does kind of seem like a bummer that all of a sudden he's just kind of character actor villain man, which seems a little bit like a waste of Kevin Bacon because he's such a good actor. And I know that he's better. I'm not saying he can't play a good guy, but like, I think he's been great on both sides. I just don't understand why all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's because he's got a distinct face. Got to make him the villain. I guess that's what it is. I don't know.
He just needs better movies. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, like you would think he's the villain in a Beverly Hills Cop movie. It's not for nothing.
Yeah, they wrote a standard villain and then they cast fucking Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I mean, Bierkoff brought so much gravitas to that role. And even Jürgen Prochnow was a great villain. And then having a really strong right hand with Brigitte Nielsen in that second one, I thought was pretty smart. Having a really strong right hand with Jonathan Banks in that first movie. I mean, God, when he says, sorry, cuz to Eddie Murphy, it's just like, oh man, he's just so fucking cold-blooded. But yeah, to not have that. I mean, Kevin Bacon is Kevin Bacon, but like you said, he seems like a really nice guy. So to see him in these villain roles, you're just like, I don't know if I value as a villain Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I didn't buy it in R.I.P.D. and I don't buy it here. 10 years ago that movie came out.
Almost. Oh man, Lord! What about the sequel? Have you seen that?
Is that a thing? No, it's not.
It is.
Oh,
it is a thing, man.
Fuck. Yeah. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges don't come back for the sequel.
No, they don't.
What a shocker. They didn't have that in their contract. You got to come back for 2 more RIPDs.
Mm-hmm.
James Hong, though? Maybe he's in it.
I don't know if even James Hong comes back, man.
James Hong, he's showing up for that RIPD 2 money.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to remember who was in it. I want to say Jeffrey Donovan might have been.
My God. Jeff Fahey in there for a little Armand Asante my way.
All right. I got you. It's, Jeffrey Donovan. Right now, Richard Brake. That might be the only
Richard. We're talking. Hey, you know what? That guy never said no to a good time.
Yeah,
he was in 3 from Hell.
That's all I recognize from this cast list.
So. Wow. Hey, like you said, Father Malone, the IPs, baby, got an IP, make some money.
Yeah, but don't.
Axel Foley 5 coming soon.
All right, in that case, but it's Eddie Murphy, so he's always going to get a pass,
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing ultimately. Like, what has Eddie Murphy really been doing recently to keep himself relevant in the pop culture world? Not a whole lot. If this is part of that, like, cool. I'm here for it.
He did the Coming to America sequel,
which was
all the fan service. It was everything this movie wasn't. So maybe there was a learning curve there because that movie felt like, and now here's another famous hit.
But also, it was more like family oriented too, and not as like I guess as comedically interesting as the original one. I've never seen either, but from what I read, that was one of the complaints was it was more sanitized and scrubbed for family friendly audiences than the original was. This movie does none of that, thankfully. He says fuck and the N-word in the first 5 minutes of the movie, which I'm here for. Like, I'm glad that they just let him do his thing, because that seems to be Eddie Murphy's thing when he's doing it well is nobody can do it as good as him, at least not in terms of still.
Get me an Eddie Murphy type.
Yeah. Right. That ain't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood Shuffle. There's a whole scene where they want an Eddie Murphy type in Hollywood Shuffle, and they're all doing that fucking laugh of his. I'm sure that helped him go, I'm not doing this laugh anymore.
So what's the deal with the laugh? I've never heard of this before. Oh, I know. So he didn't. So he had to change his laugh because he perceived that his own laugh was detrimental to his career, or just being parodied too much.
No, he got sick of hearing it and allowing this shorthand for like the worst impressions in the world. If he said anyone in the world you could say do Eddie Murphy, they just do the laugh, and that's Eddie Murphy. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that laugh.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I haven't seen enough older Eddie Murphy movies to even correlate the two. Interesting. He's not doing it in Haunted Mansion, clearly, or Nutty Professor, or Norbit.
It's in Trading Places.
Yeah. I was about to say some of the older ones are the best ones that he did.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you know what we forgot about when it came to all this stuff too is the Beverly Hills Cop pilot. Do you guys remember it was supposed to be a TV series for a little while, and apparently he showed up in that, and then it was his son, Aaron Foley, who's in that, directed by Barry Sonnenfeld from 2013. I think I watched it, but it made such an impression that I can't even tell you what happened to it.
What a weird time, though, because 2013 would have been around the same time of like that Exorcist TV show. Like a bunch of legacy TV sequels coming out.
Rosemary's Baby, remember that one?
Yeah, I do. Good Lord. There was an Omen TV show that ran for like 6 fucking seasons, I'm pretty sure even. Like, hey, you know what, though? At the end of the day, like, I think complaining about these things is, obviously we do it all the time in terms of these things are here, they exist, and we have to keep dealing with them, and they keep taking these IPs and running them into the ground. But it's nice to see that some of these things can still actually be somewhat 3/4, 2/3 even entertaining, but doesn't make up for how many of these things just come out and are just such a complete and utter waste of time at this point. And given how much stuff comes out on a daily basis, and this is on streaming, how many things are constantly like vying for our attention, you really have to make a case for people to spend time watching your movie. And I mean, this was successful enough that they're making another one through streaming. So, I mean, that's not a bad thing. If they make another one of these and it's less fan servicey and more an actual new idea and movie, yeah, I'd be down for that. But it's a rarity in this kind of thing, unfortunately.
Surprised they didn't go out on Crazy Frog, missed opportunity.
Eddie Murphy just rides away on an invisible motorcycle. What's going on? Dude, just rides away. That's the movie I wanted. That's not the movie we got. I'm super disappointed. God. Yeah, Eddie Murphy just pulls a mask off like Scooby-Doo at the end, and Crazy Frog's head just pops out.
Long tongue comes out.
Yep. God. Nobody needs to be mentioning Crazy Frog in 2024, but Beverly Hills Cop, on the other hand, maybe that's not the case for it. So
the woman that plays his daughter, who I thought was really good, she's in the new version of Toxic Avenger. So is Kevin Bacon.
Oh,
I wonder if they hung out on set and we're just talking about making Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Remember we shot that movie last year? Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I remember that. When's it coming out?
Yeah. Who knows? Being dropped on streaming.
Where? Who? I don't know.
Yeah. Who bought it? Hulu? Netflix? Who? Jesus. Right. Yeah. Can you imagine? You got to fight to, at one time you had to fight to be in the movies. Now it's a fight to have your fucking movie released on anywhere other than just streaming. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fine.
The whole world has become independent distributors.
Yeah. Father Malone, final thoughts on Beverly Hills Cop 4.
I dug it. I know it's nostalgia bait, but it's well done, and it seemed to be made with care by the original star here. It's a lot of the same, but a lot that's really good. I don't know. It's good to see all of these characters, and not just caricatures of them for the most part. And it's always great to see Eddie Murphy, no matter what.
Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this film. I had been talking about it with some coworkers on Friday, and one of them was complaining about the plastic surgery that Billy Rosewood had. I don't think he had any surgery. That looked like Judge Reinhold through and through to me, but I was a little sad that he wasn't in the movie more, but I understand the role that he was playing was to basically be out of the way. But I loved his scenes when he came in, and to see Eddie Murphy back to form, and you never know when you go to see an Eddie Murphy movie, you never know what you're going to get. So this was a very pleasant surprise, and I would recommend that more people check it out.
Yeah, as the one out of the three of us who is coming to this in it from a very different angle, at least in terms of Eddie Murphy and Eddie Murphy's role as an actor, I guess more aptly a comedian, in what I watched growing up. It's definitely different from a lot of the stuff, but at the same time, it's very similar to the things that y'all saw and grew up on. So it's nice to see them kind of try to find a way to split the difference and bring a character that could have felt like an anachronism, and in a lot of ways theoretically does not feel that way in a 2024 setting. And Eddie Murphy has still got it. I mean, I to both of your points, the idea of Eddie Murphy as the lead in things doesn't necessarily bring me joy, because I've seen things that are, hello, my name is Dave, or whatever the fuck the name of that. There's Eddie Murphy's inside of Eddie Murphy. Just kill me now, please. But then you get something like this, which is, again, it's fun. It's a return to one of the things that made Eddie Murphy famous. And look, they're going to make another one because this was successful. I hope it's more of the things that worked and less of the things that didn't. But even if it has things that don't work, this movie did as well. But I think it works overall better than it had any right to. So, yeah. Until we cover another new thing, which will probably be sooner rather than later. More than likely, I think we're looking at Twisters, I think, is probably the next new thing, which I'm more excited for than I am for most things coming out this year. Mike, where can people find you and the things that you work on?
Everything that I do is over at weirdwaymedia.com, including the projection booth, a little show I've been doing every week for over 13 years now. So FML. How about you, Father Malone?
Oh, also Weirding Way Media. You mentioned it earlier, Chris. Go listen to Midnight Viewing. It's a weekly, sometimes a couple times now weekly podcast over there. Go check it out.
That's for me, Weirding Way Media as well. All the things that I work on can be found there, other than the one thing that can't, which is Ranking on Bond, which can be found at patreon.com/Kulturecast or Projection Booth, respectively. $10 or more, you get to hear our thoughts on a James Bond movie once a month. Sometimes it's just Mike and I and our friend Richard Haddam of Richard Haddam's Paranormal Bookshelf. Sometimes others join us. Father Malone will be joining us pretty quickly for Live and Let Die. And I believe here pretty quickly we'll be joined by the hosts of 80s TV Ladies to talk about On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So that's where you can go to check that out. Like, rate, and review this show on iTunes, please, regardless of where you get it, because that helps us find our audience, because most people listen to things on iTunes, even now in 2024. Father Malone, Mike, thank you both so much for pushing that we watch this and wanting to talk about it. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode.